Good evening, everyone. You know, last night my good buddy here was in a coma, and tonight I was the one who was almost in a coma. So, but we're here tonight, and Sagi has some awesome information to present and share. And also, I want to let everybody know the phone lines are open. They're already open. The sound is already going to be piped through, so everybody can hear everybody. Sagi can hear you. You can hear Sagi, and we're ready for people to share what they know, and so we can all listen and grow. I'm not sure what happened there. That Sagi's wanting in twice. Are you there, Sag? Oh, you're muted.
There, I'm here now. I
Okay.
couldn't get back in, and then I realized I came in twice, so I had to leave, and I finally figured it out.
Yeah, I was trying to kick one of you out. I was kicking one of you out and bringing the other one in. And then I was like, wait, he's muted. And then I was trying to unmute you. And, you know, if there isn't some kind of a technical snafu, it wouldn't be YouTube.
Ain't
Right.
that the truth?
And
So hi and welcome, and glad to be here, and all that fun stuff. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I was a little surprised, as I mentioned to you earlier, that the other streams that, we've done, we haven't had such I have to say an imbalance, or a totally imbalance of thumbs up and thumbs down before we even presented the show. Before we even came live, we had 4 thumbs up and 4 thumbs down before we even hit to go live. So, wow.
Well, I mean, I guess we're definitely somebody's. Well, we're getting all those interaction points. Those YouTube interaction points.
Hey, you know what? A thumbs up or a thumbs down is interest. There's no such thing as bad publicity, right? Isn't that what the saying, that there's no such thing as bad publicity? We'll take everything, and no matter what it is that is thrown in our direction, we will put a positive, uh, positive
A positive spin on it.
yeah, absolutely. And then move forward from there with it. I mean, hey, we can only do what we can do, be here for people. Now, I did mention to you when I talked to you that somebody wanted to take your spot. Somebody offered up to take your spot last night.
You keep alluding to this mystery someone, but I don't think they actually exist.
Okay, all right, yeah, we can say it that way.
You haven't actually mentioned a particular person, so they'll remain forever fictitious.
They know who they are, and I'm sorry. And as we talked, maybe in the future, maybe doing a one-on-one show with this person would be great. But as for this, what you're doing, there's a level of trust. There's a friendship. There's a trust that comes along with, to hold a spot that is yours. That this is you and I discussed this. You and I, decided to come on and do this together, and banter back and forth, allowing other people to call while you do a lot of research. You find amazing topics to present, and like I said, I trust you, and there's more to just coming on than just volunteering. You can't just volunteer to take a spot from somebody where there's a history with. So your spot is safe. So what I did, because so many people, you wouldn't believe, Sagi. I mean, unless you've seen it, I know you were in a coma, and restoring things because you wore yourself down. But you wouldn't believe how many people actually came and waited and waited and waited. I could not find your phone number for the life of me. And I have it. I have it. And I know what I wrote it down on. It's on a little post-it note. And I could not find it to save my life, just to call you and say, hey, are you okay? Because that's what you've told me. You're like, if I'm not answering, I can't hear that. Just call me on my phone. I'll hear that. And then, so I went and finally got access to your phone number. And I called you, and your phone was acting really odd. And then I was like, wait a minute, what if he's just not feeling well, or something's going on, or family emergency? Because I just had one, and that's why we canceled the week before. So, I started feeling bad. And then, but people wanted to go ahead and stream. So what I did was I just postponed this one till tonight, with your spot still intact, and then set up another stream, and then allowed people to call in. And I have to say, Preliminal called in last night and ended up being the only one that I actually had time for, because although he thought it was going to be a 2-minute in and out type of a conversation, he ended up, really deep diving. He wanted to share just a dream. And from the dream, we went into hypothesis, what he thinks this place is. What if he finds out when he gets out and graduates Earth School that he actually stood in line with, excitement to come in and have such an experience as this place. I mean, just so much outside of the box thinking of shifting perspective, taking a look at things from a different vantage point, and how, deep we can go by just looking at things from a different angle, different observation point. While we're in here, we're like, man, this sucks, and this is going on, and this, that, and, in the world, and blah, blah, blah. And it seems like we're here forever, but we're not, thinking of eternity. It's like a blink of an eye. It's a flash of time. And when we got so deep is when we were talking about when we graduate and we leave Earth School, that when we look back on it and we see the expansion and the growth that we were able to achieve from such a place as this, that we're going to look at it with those pure eyes again, with that excitement of this place, and wanting to get back in line or cut in front of other people that are, or other souls, spiritual beings in line to have their turn in Earth School, to have this amazing expansion. I mean, it got deep. That man, if you can get him to talk and to come out of his shell, he's deep. It was an amazing conversation. I was like, okay, I'm going to just be live for an hour, and that, allow people to call, and just for an hour, since, you were down for the count last night. And by the way, I'm really glad you're feeling better. And it was me that was going to be down for the count, but I couldn't do it to you. I just couldn't. I told my husband, just wake me up when you're going to work. Just make sure I get up. And then when he woke me up, I'm like, forget it. Just go in there and cancel it. And then I drug myself out and been getting some caffeine in me to press on and press forward, because it is important to connect with the community and to talk to others on what's going on within them, these amazing phenomena that we experience, these things that we see here, the soul growth, the perspectives, the experiences, and everything that people go through. is fascinating to me, and I also feel we're so unique that we have so much to share with our uniqueness. We're not meant to be cookie cutouts or automatons. And that was another thing we talked about last night. Uh, I'm going to touch a little bit. I hope I don't embarrass Pre, but you know what? It is actually, that live stream's up. It's out for the public. So, it's in the public domain. And he did talk about it himself. But he has this gifting. And, our gifts are amazing. But his gift started in 1970, that when he goes to sleep at night, he sees 30 years into the future. And when he goes to bed, almost, like as he was saying every night, what it does is the dream picks up where it left off and continues to move, between 25 and 30 years into the future. Now, the one that he was upset about is that he was in the future, 25 to 30 years from now. And he said that people were wearing their clothes. We did finally get this out. And then over their clothing, they were wearing plastic. And how he explained it, finally, at first I was like, they're wearing plastic clothes. And he's like, no, they're wearing regular clothes. But like, when you pick up clothes from a dry cleaner, they got that plastic over it. Like everybody had this plastic over their clothing. And he said the buildings were all alike. And that like all of the color, I mean, it was dingy whites and grays. The buildings were all alike. The people were all alike. And it was like all the culture, the art, all of his passions that he has as an artist himself was lacking in this future of 30 years from now. And what he reflected back to was when this started happening to him in the 70s, what he was seeing then was beautiful, colorful, very something really to look forward to. And then he also talked about that since the Mandela Effect, he hasn't had a deja vu moment. And, over time, we figure out what each of these like paranormal phenomena that we encounter are. And deja vu, and, we make fun of movies and stuff, but deja vu, we get truth drops in movies. And deja vu, a change has been made, right? So if you're having a deja vu moment, that's why it's so odd of a feeling, and you kind of have to shake it off and reacclimate yourself, because you've been there either in dream time or you're doing a redo with a changing of your mind with a different outcome. He has not had that happen since the Mandela Effect. So he's due for one. But if he's seeing this kind of a future or has this kind of gifting going on with him, no gift is given without purpose. There's something with what he's able to see and project into the future. He has to have some kind of say-so there, or it wouldn't be being shown to him.
If I could chime in, I mean, you just go on. Yeah.
Well, you missed it. So I wanted to kind of like in a nutshell talk about, the gifts are so diverse and so
right, but there's parts of it I'm going to lose if I don't, like you brought up like 7 different things, and I'm still trying to remember to make sure I comment on the third one.
Go. It's all you.
So as far as deja vu and in relation to how you mentioned he hasn't experienced it since the Mandela Effect.
Mm-hmm.
I actually came up with a theory about deja vu, and it kind of might relate to why or how the Mandela Effect could be a factor in whether you experience or not. Mm-hmm. And I haven't had a deja vu, like a real true deja vu moment in quite a while either. I haven't taken the time to consider if it was pre or after Mandela Effect. I'll have to think about that. But here's the theory. a deja vu, I think, sometimes occurs when your timeline that you're currently like actively in the 3D realm of is synchronizing to some degree with an alternate version of your timeline, meaning that they're like the branches are literal. You're literal. The branches, the branches are literally like pressed up right against each other. Like if you had made only slightly different choices and came to that moment, it would have still happened the way that it's playing out now because of the people and the surroundings and the whatever it is you're interacting with. You know, say you're in the kitchen cooking with your family and you're making breakfast, and the kid walks out and you know and they say and they're saying, "Oh, great, we're having pancakes again," and the other kid goes, "Well, I love pancakes," and all of a sudden you're like, "Oh my God, I remember us having this experience before." Well, that is something that you could easily recreate in any even a slightly different timeline, hence having a deja vu moment. You see what I mean?
Right.
Okay. But
I would,
then when you factor in the Mandela effect and or why you may not be having it is because it seems like the whole Mandela effect has kind of blurred timelines, has kind of like meshed them in a convoluted kind of way, almost like if when you take and you add cream to your coffee and you haven't stirred it yet. It's just kind of seeping around the edges and falling into the coffee, but it hasn't totally integrated. I kind of feel like that's what a Mandela effect is, as far as like how it's kind of like we're it's in our timeline, but it's still we have like a fabric or a um or some type of resonance of the old timeline too, because we're remembering it the old way. So I don't know. It's just a theory. I thought I would make mention of it. And
you know, I love hearing everybody's hypothesis. Now, let me throw one back at you before you start. I know you've got some information to present, and guys, let me say the phones are open. So even though we are chatting back and forth, you when you call, the direction goes to both. You get both of our attention, our undivided attention for whatever it is that you're sharing. Um, on the deja vu, I've had deja vu since the Mandela effect. A deja vu feeling to me is it's a strange feeling, and it's a quick reacclimation of a change. Something changed. Either I change a trajectory, or I, either observe something, or I'm redoing something and I change a trajectory. Now, what you were just explaining about the timeline or thing, I call a shift. And when I was talking about that, whatever started on June 2nd, that was, it went on for 6 days when I came on live and was talking about it. And it took me an additional 2 days to acclimate to it. That is so different than what a deja vu, a change that I would make personally to what you're describing of a deja vu moment, as I would call that a shift where I had to really acclimate myself to the new surroundings, that in a collective manner, that we collectively made a choice together in the subconscious, unconscious, collective conscious level of a trajectory we didn't want to take on. So we change and we feel those really intensely. I mean, they really, like I said,
I have a question for you.
days before I talked to, and it took me another 2 days to get that buzzing and that weird. I felt like I was lifting off the ground, like I was not here, but I was here, but not here. It was weird. But go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I've never had a deja vu where I was totally alone, and like any deja vu moment I've ever occurred, it's usually during an interaction with either somebody else or a small group of people, be it no more than five, but sometimes as many as two or three. Well, obviously at least two, but sometimes three or four people, and we're in some form of interaction that's occurring. It's because, and I guess it jars it because you realize that you as things are happening and people are saying things, that this has already happened before. Like you're coming to a realization, like, oh my God, I know what they're about to say. Oh my God, I know somebody's about to walk in the door, or I know they're about to drop something, or whatever, whatever the case may be. You realize that the sequence of events, the way that they're playing out, is identical to a vague recollection that you already have of it already occurring. And then as it plays out, it's you're becoming aware of it. And then of course, as soon as you ever say, "Oh my God, I'm having a deja vu," as soon as you say it out loud, the deja vu moment is ruined, because you've just altered the moment by saying that. But if you bite your tongue and you just let it do its thing, it is such a weird thing to have happen. But have you ever had the deja vu and it just be you all by yourself and nobody else interacting with anyone else, or has it always included other people?
Well, when I have a deja vu moment, usually okay, let me kind of explain. I'll have a dream and I will watch. Sometimes I'll drop in, I'll be an actor, but I'll just give you an example of a vivid dream that, and remember, this started in the year 2000. I started leaving my body and having vivid dreams that then we would walk through, which is why it was so hard in 2012 with what I saw in that dream, that I couldn't handle it, which then I, fell under the harsh taskmasters. And let's not get into that right now. But the difference that I know with deja vu is I'll have a dream and I'll actually be an actor within it. Okay. So yeah, it will involve other people, but usually people that are in my direct surroundings. A lot of times now, as these things open up with us, we get better and more skilled at what we're seeing and what we're doing, and how to utilize these gifts to the betterment of everyone involved, and then collectively, of course. I will raise myself up if I'm an actor in it, and I will watch as an observer. Okay. And now, obviously, I know that I'm going to participate in whatever is going on there. Caller, we will be right with you. So I know that I'm involved. All right. I raise myself above it and I watch it and I see the outcome. And if that outcome doesn't look good, or it's harmful, or it takes a trajectory that, even though in the dream I'm looking at it like, oh my gosh, what can I do? Well, then what happens is that situation presents itself in life. I'll walk into it. And then as soon as it starts to happen, I'll see it. And then I'll be like, wait, I get a chance now to make a different choice. I'll make a different choice. And then a little bit later, after making that different choice, I'll have a deja vu, like I just made a change, a small change within my own dynamics around me, where the shift thing that I felt that went on for days is something that had to have been felt, or something changed within so many people because it lasted for so long. It then, and you can liken it to a deja vu moment, but imagine a deja vu moment on steroids lasting for over a week, that you feel
I don't know that. I think at that point it would start to get anything over like 10, 15 minutes, it starts to get creepy as far as I'm concerned.
And if you don't understand what you're feeling, that energy, that humming and that buzzing, it's a internal energy buzzing that's coming from within you, like the magnetics of your heart and your mind. And you feel like you are disjointed and relocated, or the shift was so big and monumental that we have to realign and acclimate to what we're experiencing. It's different. So yeah, deja vu, I think, is something that, from my understanding, is something that I have changed a trajectory within, like, my family dynamics, or my personal friends that I have around me, or and then it only lasts 15 seconds up to a couple minutes, and then it's like you shake it off and you're like, whoo, what I just changed, but then if you've had dreams about it and you've seen the situation, and then you're walking through it and you recognize it, and then you change the trajectory, and then later have a deja vu moment, it all kind of links together. That's why I say there's no gifts, and even him seeing 30 years into the future, that are wasted. There's nothing. There's everybody is given tools, gifts, unique abilities for a reason. There's a reason he's seeing constantly since the 70s, 25 to 30 years in the future. If he didn't have a say so over what he was seeing, and being an artist, being unique the way that he is, there's got to be something that he has a say so over in order to change that outcome, because he was not happy with it. Do you have something to say on that, or can we?
Let's find out who our caller is, if they're still there.
Yeah, they're still here, but I'm hesitant. I'm hesitant to take this call. Okay, I'm gonna take this call, but I'm just gonna say, caller, I love you with my entire heart. I want nothing but good things. Please respect my platform as I respect yours. Okay? And you're live with Sagi and Michelle on Awake and Activate. Who we talking to, and what do you have to share?
I just got a question, that's all.
Okay.
Why are you telling your monitors to censor our comments? I don't get that.
Oh,
am I supposed to walk on eggshells now? I feel like I can't even express.
Hold on, caller. Hold on. I told you I'm going to monitor this call. Now let me answer your question before you assume. All right. Okay. We have had some problems as of recent with people being automatically just showing up out of nowhere that are using condemnation and trying to put people back under the law and under their perspective of how they interpret what they think religion is supposed to be. This platform, however, is not about condemnation. It's about feeling safe, about talking about phenomena that are happening within all of us, and feeling open enough to be able to share it without condemnation or people judging you or trying to put you back into a box when no box fits what we're all going through. So do not take it as a personal thing. It's not a personal for you. It is absolutely, exactly, and my moderators will back it up. You can express, you can share, you can give your perspectives, but when it becomes insulting or sowing discord, I'm not having any of that anymore. I have actually, I'm banning people. I don't have any tolerance for it. So I hope that answers your question. So don't take it personally. It's not a personal thing at all. It's a blanket thing about what we're here, what this platform is about in truth, and not what other people are trying to make my platform into. Sagi, do you have anything that you want to add?
No, I think that I don't have anything to say about that.
Okay. Do you have anything else that you want to share? Any amazing phenomena and Mandela effects? Any paranormal things? Any strange things? Any oddities you notice anything going on? Did you feel that crazy shift? Rowley, bless his heart, ran around telling everybody on any platform, probably even your own, and on call-in shows about that planetary alignment. And who'd have thought there was going to be a strawberry moon that fell within a few days after that planetary alignment, which a good friend of mine, which I know you know who it is, a dead GPK, captured some phenomenal footage. You guys, if you have not seen that footage, highly recommend you go check it out. The clouds were covering it, and then with his persistence, patience, he got such a beautiful full image of that strawberry full moon during this strange shift that we all went through. So I'm sure you think that's something that unremarkable. I mean, just something phenomenal to share. So go for it. It's all you.
Let me ask you this. What are your thoughts on the Trinity?
And I'm not going to.
I've heard you denounce it in one of your earlier videos. I'm just curious.
Denounce?
Oh.
Did you watch the video?
I can't ask that question. Okay.
No. I didn't denounce the Trinity. I said it's not in the Bible. Read your Bible. Find it. Oh, I did talk to Sagi about this. I'm sorry, caller. Hold on just 1 second. Before we went live, I have put together, it's about a 15, 16-minute video of the research and everything. And I'm going to release that video, and then I am going to leave it up to you guys to go and seek within, seek, knock, and find, because you will, and discern the truth. I've always, I never postulate myself, caller, as anything but an equal to everybody else. I don't try to preach dogma or my interpretation of anything. One thing that you'll find that is fascinating, maybe you'll even be interested in this, that from one book, it is splintered into 44,000 different interpretations that broke apart churches into 44,000 different denominations. And that's how many they're able to count now. That's not talking about little splinter groups that meet at home that, will have their own personal interpretation and meet and prove it. So those are the statistics of the known, I guess you would call them brick and mortar buildings, church buildings of different denominations. But the only thing is through the research and also looking and seeking it out in through the Bible, is that I don't know why that the Trinity is not mentioned. Now, do I think there is no Trinity? That's not the question that you asked me. You said I denounced the Trinity. I did not. I said it's not in the Bible. Now, we're supposed to worship in spirit and in truth. So if there is no Holy Spirit, how are we to worship in spirit and in truth? And our body itself is comprised of a spirit, a soul, and a body. So, and once, I had my face-to-face, I've had my out of the grave moment. I had to go into the grave because I fell under law. If there's anything that I can do to help people not follow some of the hardships that I, through my own testimony and my journey, I'll wave that flag. Because when I had that dream I didn't like, I didn't want to see it. I didn't want it to come to pass. I thought I was being punished. I fell under what I was, I referred to as harsh taskmasters. I tried to make myself perfect based on how they interpreted the Bible, but they were the only ones teaching about the gifts that were operating, today. And it caused a lot of confusion for me. In the meantime, what I did was I denounced basically the finished work of Christ, and I put myself under law. And guess what happened? I had the baptism from above, and it was not into an eternal life. I went into death. I went into darkness. I had to go through. I went. It's appointed to man once to die, and then to judgment. I went to judgment, and that, if I can tell anyone, is to rest in the grace. It's a free gift. Rest in the finished work. You're okay. When we fall under law, we're all guilty, and we all then are judged, and then we have to do our penance. And then what happened with me was I felt like I needed to go preach the gospel to people, bring them into the fold, tithe, supplicate, fast, be perfect, be something that, I was already operating in the gifts prior to this. It was a dream that I had that I didn't want to see come to pass. And that is where I fell. And then when I fell under law, I was judged. And when I was judged under law, I was guilty. So I had to go into, you can call it an allegorical belly of the earth. You see through the glass darkly. The gifts are operating. You see in the spiritual realm, but you don't understand what the heck is going on with you. It's confusing. So, that is my whole motivation for trying to share my own testimony with my own experiences, because before then, the gifts were already there. I was already operating. I'm born on this side of the cross. And not only that, when he went to the cross, it not only was from the foundation of the earth, so it retroed back, but it also nailed that law to the cross, forward and backwards in time. So I know now that basically I lost my faith in what Christ said, his finished work. It's done. It's finished. Rest in it. I lost my faith in Christ, in what he said and what he proclaimed. And so I fell under law, and I was judged. And when I was judged, I was found guilty. So I hope that helps make sense to what is even motivating, or to try to take down these giants of government. Is another one that we're going to be looking at, these giants in the land that we think we have no say-so over, but really we hold the power. It's within us. It's always been within us. Does that help answer your question a little better, a little more clearly?
I guess so. That's all I had for now. You guys have a good show.
All right. Thank you for calling in. I love you. And be blessed in everything that you do and every endeavor you take. So, okay. Where are you at, Sagi? I got to go back over here. Okay. So
yeah, I'm still here.
I hope that was explained well. See, but we talked about this pre-show that I put together when I did the live stream, and I was sharing, it was basically from my own experience, and I have the affirmation for people to look at, discern for yourself, seek from within. Don't take any man's word. Seek for yourself. Don't let anybody dictate, and when you see these facts, the sources and everything are linked down in the description box. I always link my sources so you can go and read articles for yourself. And then I would hope that you wouldn't just stand on the sources that I give you, but then go deeper into your research and branch out from it and keep digging until you are satisfied. Don't take what I give you and leave it. Please, please keep digging until you've got that peace in your heart that is that you know within your very being. And I have to, I have to give accolades to those people who are not easily swayed or allow others to dictate to them their relationship with our creator. Kudos to you, because you have every gift, every ability, you're connected. We're all loved equally. There is no condemnation. And once you have your face to face, you see that, and all you have is love for each other. It is a complete renewing of your mind and your heart. It's such a beautiful thing. So I'm going to drop that video tomorrow probably, and you guys can check that out. Check the sources, birdwalk from the sources. But I found several articles, and what I did on the denominational splits from the one book is all I did on that one to show you guys. There was so many articles that talked about when they did the stats in this year, there was 31,000, and then, it got up to like 41,000 in 238 countries. And, all these splinter fraction groups, all under the same banner of Christianity. And they fought with each other over interpretation of the one book. And instead of resolving it as we are to be in one accord with each other, resolving our issues. And if we have a dispute, take someone in private and talk to them, find out what's going on. But you're going to be shocked, because on that, I just scrolled through the plethora of articles that are out there showing how many different actual brick and mortar buildings and interpretations of under the banner of Christianity that there actually is. But my whole warning was about rest in the finished work. You are amazing. It's done. It's finished. If you have been introduced to Christ, know that it's a finished work. And if you have not heard of Christ, you're saved too, because Christ resides within. He lights up every man. God, the Creator, lights up every man. So let every man be a liar and let God be true. So with that said, always come to your own conclusions. And I don't want to get into that really tonight. I want to give, of course, callers chances to call. And I want Sagi to present the phenomenal information of amazing phenomena that are coming. Gosh, we're almost to them, aren't we? This is the 18th. So you go, boy. Share.
All right. Well, my 2 cents worth on everything is I just want everyone to know I don't usually share or speak out loud my personal thoughts and opinions on religion or anything in those lines, because I'm not really well schooled on that information. So I just want everybody to know I usually steer clear of that particular topic. I mean, I have my own personal spiritual journey that I'm going through, but I don't feel like I'm educated enough on the topic to try to take a stance one way or the other in a public format. Nor do I don't. But at the same time, I hope everybody's able to, discern for themselves where they're at on their spiritual journey and decipher the information that they see on this channel or any other channel or in their church or in their whatever it is they're resonating with. I just want everybody to know I don't. That's not something that I normally would. You'll hear me speaking on, because it's not my wheelhouse of thought. It's not where. It's not something that I prefer to talk about. But with all that being said, I do have a couple things I want to present. This coming Sunday, June the 21st, is Father's Day, and it's also there's also going to be a unique let me see here. I can't get to my screen here. Hold on a second. There we go. There's going to be a Ring of Fire solar eclipse this coming June 21st. I don't know if anyone here has ever seen one before, but it is a unique phenomenon. Unfortunately, most people, well, in the United States, you're not going to be able to see it, but it is one of the most, according to the article here I'm reading, it's one of the most spectacular celestial dances. It appears when the moon is partially obscured with the view of our sun, allowing a ring of starfire to escape its edges. And that's exactly what's going to be happening. It's called the annular solar eclipse. And it happens when the moon is farthest away from the Earth in its orbit and therefore appears smaller in our skies relative to the sun. That small difference in apparent size is what sets annular eclipses apart from full solar eclipses. When the closer position of the moon, with its average radius of 18,000 kilometers or 1,000 miles, makes it appear to be the same size as our far larger star, which has a radius of around 696 kilometers or 432,000 miles. And a stunning and unusual example of this was captured by a photographer mentioned in the article. But make a long story short, the Ring of Fire is also distorted by Earth's atmosphere, squashing the extraordinary synchronized moon and sun as they rise until they climb above the level of high refraction. So this weekend, a complete Ring of Fire will be visible from Central Africa and through Asia. It will start around 3:45 UTC this coming Sunday. Many other locations from southeastern Europe to northern tips of Australia will experience a partial annular eclipse. The peak of the eclipse, the moon will block 99.4% of the sun as pair of graces the sky of northern India. I have experienced a total eclipse before, and it was quite a unique experience. It got dark, obviously, and in the middle of the afternoon. And what I noticed in just that short amount of time, all the birds started singing and carrying on as if it was becoming dusk. You even noticed that the leaves on the trees started to move upward, change their shape and the angle that they were tilting, where they normally try to leaves on trees usually perform a certain way when they're in the light and perform a different way when it becomes dark. It almost seemed like it was as if the earth was fooled that it was sunset for just a few moments. It's like the earth knew the difference between the sun being blocked by a cloud and being blocked by the moon. It was all we have sunlight, but you also have so many other ultraviolet rays and things like that the earth is conditioned to receiving. And it's like nature in itself was being fooled into thinking the sun had set. Have you ever experienced a solar eclipse before, Michelle?
Yes.
And did you witness that same phenomenon? The birds singing and everything acting kind of weird?
Well, for some reason, it seems like they get confused and lose direction, and it is an odd phenomenon. It's like everything kind of seems a little disjointed. The animals, behave strangely, and yes.
So, with that being said, the other thing, I'm sorry, go ahead.
So I was just leading into it, and simultaneously on the same day, I was just trying to do your lead in.
Oh, okay. Yeah. And now we have, as if, the all the stuff going on in the world wasn't confusing enough as it is. We also have an update to the Mayan calendar. doomsday theorists were once convinced that the world would end on December 21st, 2012. If you guys remember, that was the date that we all thought the Mayan calendar was expired. So it was supposedly people would make the argument that it's the end of the world as we know it. Um, However, in
Hang on,
recent
wasn't it though? I mean, really, for a lot
say
of us,
what?
for a lot of us, wasn't it though? I mean, didn't the world actually change? And then maybe it took us a few years to figure it out with like seeing Mandela Effect and all these strange phenomena cropping into our awareness. Just a
It's
thought.
funny. It's funny you mentioned that because 2012 is pretty much as far back as you can go on a Google Trend search. I think you can go back to 2009 or 2007. Not much further back than that for Google Trends, as far as like if you want to see what people were searching for. And when I first got into the Mandela Effect, I was looking up things like Skechers and and different ones where the spelling is changed on brands and stuff like that. And it was either 2012 was the key year that it seems like the reality shifted, and 2016 was the other year where it seems like a lot of shiftiness happened. But
It's a shift.
apparently we were all wrong though. According to a scientist, Puelo Tagulagun, I'll spell it Tagalogun, and Pualo is Paolo. The scientist Puelo Tagulagun issued a series of tweets, which have since been deleted. But the long and the short of it is they were saying that using the Julian calendar, technically as the world in 2012 at the moment, but that would answer the question of why the Mayans prediction was off by approximately 8 years. So if you follow the Julian calendar, we are technically in 2012. The number of days lost in a year due to the shift of the Gregorian calendar is 11 days. And if you multiply that times 268 years, and he has an example of all the math that he used to come up with the specific date. But basically, make a long story short, it makes this coming June 21st the end of the Mayan calendar. So, with all that being said, if you've been putting off finishing your deck or getting that fishing boat that you always dreamed of, you might want to go ahead and get it and go fishing this coming Saturday.
Oh my gosh. No doom and gloom, dude. Come on.
I say it tongue in cheek.
I know. And you know, if there's one thing we've learned about this is it almost seems like it is it's like we are collectively putting out signs for people to be prepared, because something else is we're going to go through another transition. So like even when you talk about 2012, dude, it got real strange for me in 2012, but then again it got real strange for me in 2000, but then again it got real strange for me when I was 15 years old, but then again it was real strange for me when I was 5.
It got real strange for me like last week.
It's constantly flowing, and it's almost like it's changing at a rate to try to make it so we can handle it. Does that make sense? And we get these warning signs like what you're sharing here. It's signs in the sky, and then people will point out like the Mayan calendar. Now it's got a new date because you know
what I like most about the new date though is it's not an impending thing 6 months from now. It's about to happen this weekend. So I don't know if you remember last time, but we knew about it long beforehand, and we had all these people who were had time to absorb the information and freak out, and you had people literally making like traveling down to these Mayan temples and paying homage to the Mayan culture and just like all this stuff. There's not really enough time between like when this tweet came out and this coming Sunday for there to be a big epe apocalyptic moment. So it's going to come and go before we even know it. So I love the fact that it's just coming this weekend, and then it'll quickly become an afterthought.
And yeah, and it just is. It just, to me, it's like, pay attention, look around you, watch, see what you're feeling inside, watch your surroundings. You know,
I do believe that this coming Sunday is going to be a pivotal day. I think that we're going to. I'm not saying something bad is going to happen, but I'm just saying that it's like it's going to be a threshold that once we cross, we're going to move into a new phase of whatever platform or level of whatever you want to put it on. I don't know exactly how it's all going to fit as far as a square peg and a square peg and a round hole, but I just know that there's some. This coming Sunday is going to be a significant day for us. I think a lot will be once we move past it, we will be into a new phase. That's just my personal opinion, for whatever it's worth.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to laugh at what you were saying. I was laughing at Dead GPK. He's like, we're gonna have areas and groups like the movie The Warriors. LOL. I mean, and what that made me think of is that movie that Tina Turner's in, Mad Max of Thunderdome, and I mean, people will project and think, oh, it's the end of the world, and this is gonna happen, and everything's going to crumble. And, what are you going to do when you don't have electricity or your electronics and all these, niceties? And you know what? No matter what is thrown at us, whatever we go through, we are resilient. I don't know. We have experiences here, and the reasons we have the experiences we have is so we know what to do when situations like that happen. I've been homeless. I know what that feels like, and I know how to survive without a roof over my head. So I wouldn't be too concerned with that. But maybe somebody that, was really pampered and used to having everything served to them, maybe they would have a hard time with it. I don't know. But it's just an interesting analogy. And when he put that in there, it flashed in my mind, that Tina Turner, who knows if this has been even Mandela affected, Mad Max of Thunderdome. Do you remember that movie, when they're all like crazy and just in doom buggies and
the post-apocalyptic,
and they're all crazy. And so when he made that comment, that it's like, okay, I wasn't laughing at what you were sharing. I was laughing at him. And I have to say, you guys, if you're not subscribed to Dead GPK, I have a playlist dedicated to just his channel on my homepage. Also, he's in my on my homepage. His channel's on my homepage to subscribe because of this phenomena that Sagi just shared with us. If he is, and I have to say, even My Skies 5D, but and both of them. I mean, there's a plethora of sky watchers that are really good at what they do, but when it comes down, from my experience on the ones that I watch and enjoy and resonate with, it's Dead GPK. He seems to capture things just like I was saying with that strawberry full moon. When he went out to capture it, it was cloudy. But then he was able to, with his field, his thoughts, his intentions that he wanted to capture it, that it parted, and he got some phenomenal images of that strawberry full moon. So when this is going to transpire on Sunday, if you don't see it for yourself or unable to, check him out, because this is what he does. This is his thing. We all add something precious and something unique to this tapestry, this puzzle. And by coming together and sharing, it really helps for us to put things, together. And I want to see it. I definitely want to see it for myself. But even if I see it for myself, I won't be able to see the definition of it as how Dead GPK will present it. He's got, the equipment, he's got the lenses, he's got what he needs in order to make it, especially it being a solar eclipse, to be able to capture it without blinding himself, using his equipment, where we'll be able to see, this magical event transpire with the clarity, the best that he can. And when I say the best that he can do, I'm talking, you guys, it's off the charts. It's mind blowing, the clarity of the images. And often we talk about how you radiate out around yourself, like how you influence your direct energetic field, or what's going on in your heart is going to reflect around you in your atmosphere. And a long time ago, somebody brought this up and I hadn't even noticed it. And it was when when I first started my channel, I was doing my videos on my cell phone out in my backyard. And you could see the skies behind me and everything. And I'm talking and I'm sharing. And then somebody said, "Oh my gosh, do you not see your Merkaba? It's huge. I see it in the skies behind you." So as I was speaking, the skies, behind me were responding. It was, and so this is how ignorant that I was to it. I never even saw it till it was pointed out. And then when I looked at it, I was like, holy moly, how observant that person was. And then of course, I looked into what is that, because I didn't know what it was. And
What did you say, Macabre?
yeah, they called it a Merkaba. And a Merkaba, what the Merkaba is, it's like you think about your toroidal field, all right? That's the energetic field that, flows out, from your heart, up, out through your head, flows out and around you. We did the, with preliminal last night, when you're not quite aware of what you are, your energy field will flow up and out and around you, approximately a 3-foot radius around you on either side, or front or back. So by separating us by 6 foot, and people not having the awareness yet, we're not crossing our fields. And that's how we feel each other's hearts and have gut intuition. But when you become aware of it, you can extend that field out. And people, talk about being empathic. They can feel other people when they're sad, or if they're sick, or if they're happy, because they become aware. And then their toroidal field extends out even bigger, to the point where they're overlapping even people that only have the 3 foot, and they're feeling what's going on within that person at that moment. It can be really confusing when that first cracks open for you, because you're like, is that mine, or is that somebody else's? And why, you'd be like, my moods are going from happy and now I want to cry, and all I did was walk past 2 different people. And and then you learn and grow. And now the Merkaba, however, if you think about you think about I guess it would be like the Star of David. Okay, let's think about the Star of David. You have the up pointing triangle, right? And then you have the down pointing triangle. Okay. And your Merkaba is like a vehicle that is also, it's bigger and it surrounds you. And one of the triangles rotates one direction, and then the other rotates the opposite direction. They spin in opposite directions, giving you a clean flow of influence from, again, just like with your toroidal field, from your heart and you're renewing your mind, your Merkaba gets activated, and then it will reach out up into the skies, or you can influence out into your neighborhood, or you can go into a grocery store and your Merkaba can be so full of love and peace that just by being in that grocery store, everybody's going to feel that energy and calm them down. We can liken this to, you remember hearing about the group of people that were going to high crime areas, and what they would do is they would congregate in these parks, and they would pray or meditate or just sit and just be still. And the crime rates were measurably declined. And then when they would leave from that area and move on to another hotspot area that they would go and work on, the crime rates after they left would actually stay reduced for weeks up to a month after they left. And then, of course, things would then resume. So that's an example of, the influence of a Merkaba versus a toroidal a field. It's a much bigger influence. So when I was speaking, and I guess from the passion in my voice, the vibration, the joy, the happiness, the excitement, even though I was nervous, and also probably nerves, because coming out and talking about stuff, I was a little nervous about it, but it showed up in my skies. I mean, there was my skies would pixelate out with think of this matrix or simulation, or you're looking at your computer screen and it glitches out. That's what my sky was doing. It was coming up with these black glitchings. Then you would see clouds would appear, and then they would become really vivid. They would then change all different colors. And then we would get this blue sky again, the clouds would just disappear. Not that they traveled behind me. These were very short little clips that I was making, in the beginning. And I was like, I don't know why I didn't see it before, but when she pointed it out, I couldn't unsee it. That's one thing I've noticed. Once something is pointed out and you see it, you can't unsee it. So when I watch sky watchers, or when I watch people take footage of, skies around them, you're actually able to kind of look into their heart, because it reflects out and around them, their field of influence. Now, mind you, there's other people that are also influencing, okay, because we're in this together. But one person walking with the inner knowing, can activate their Merkaba to a point that it extends out into a far reach, not encroaching on people's sovereignty, but definitely affecting weather, sky phenomena, safety, plenty. If you need rain for your crops, things of that nature that will benefit all mankind without taking away from anything they came here to experience. Did I kind of explain that clear enough for you to kind of understand? That's my understanding of a Merkaba. We all have it. We all, it is the vehicle that's outside of our vehicle. Well, actually, I would have to say it's our third layer. Just like we are body, soul, and spirit, we have our chakra energy points, or the rainbow within, our heart and mind renewal that affects our toroidal field, then which also activates our Merkaba field, which is a larger vehicle, or a larger spiritual expression from what's going on within you. So when you watch sky watchers, you can see their heart. You can see the beauty from within them by the images they capture. It's phenomenal. It's just off the charts. So anyways, that let me know if I explain that well enough. I'm still kind of tired, so I'm trying to be clear. But what's your thoughts, Sag? Did you understand it, guys? Remember, the phone lines are open, and if you call, we shut up, and it's all about you. It's all about what you have to offer. But okay, did you get that, Sag?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah. Oh yeah. I wasn't
All right. I wasn't sure if I was on mute or not. Yeah, between you and me looking it up on Wikipedia, I was able to decipher what it is.
Okay. Well, my interpretation came from within and from operating in, and then I looked at what a Merkaba looked like, and that's where I got the stars. It being a star, one triangle up, one facing down, and then spinning in opposite directions. So, what did you find as for your research? You're an excellent researcher. So, what did you find? What do you have?
Oh, let me see. Okay, here it is. I was making sure I didn't close it. Well, it looks like it goes back to the early. It's a school of early Jewish mysticism, 1000 CE, centered on visions such as those found in the book of Ezekiel, chapter 1, or in Haikalat Palace's literature. It's basically concerning stories of ascents, excuse me, of ascents to the heavenly palaces and the throne of God. The main corpus of the Merkaba literature was composed in the period of 200 to 700 CE, although later references to the chariot tradition can also be found in the literature of Kasadia as Zagjanas in the Middle Ages. But as far as how it applies in Christianity, it makes reference to a guy named Timo Escola. Early Christian theology and discourse was influenced by this Jewish Merkaba tradition. Similarly, Alan Segal and Daniel Boyer regard Paul of the Apostles' accounts of his conversion experience and his ascent to the heavens as the earliest first-person accounts we have of Merkaba mystique in Jewish and Christian literature. So to make a long story short, the man, the lion, ox, and eagle are used as symbols for four evangelists or gospel writers and appear frequently in church decorations. These creatures are called Zoe or tetramorph and surround the throne of God in heaven, along with 24 elders and 7 spirits of God, according to Revelations 4:1 through 11. And that's all that it really says.
Well, what I find not in the religious, take the religion out of it, but the way
that's just what it said in Wikipedia.
I'm not going to part what you shared. I'm just saying that my how I seen what the Merkaba was, a triangle up, a triangle down, and I did describe it as, think of the Star of David.
Yeah, I saw an image. It's almost like it looks like a D&D dice, almost like the dime. It's almost like a diamond shape.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you took like you drew a square and then you brought all 4 points up to a point, and then went south and did the same thing going south. That kind of a diamond shape.
So you're actually seeing it as it's spinning. When it's when you're able to view it or astro view it or perceive it, it does look like the Star of David in a stationary, when it's stationary, but it's never stationary. Your Merkaba is always turning at what amount of speed that it's turning. It varies between person to person, but the faster that it goes, what it'll look like when it's actually spinning, is like a prism that will take take light and reflect light. How people put those in their windows, and when the sun comes up, it reflects like rainbow spots of light all throughout, whatever window in that room all around. That's when it is spinning in its optimal. Think of it as a prism, and the light, which is actually more than likely coming from within you, that is from the creator that lighteth every man, the light that is within you. And again, you guys, this is not a religious channel. It's just we're talking about things that I couldn't believe that he just it tied into Jewish mysticism. And the way that I explained it is like it's like the Star of David, when it stopped. But when it's spinning, because this isn't something that's exclusive to one people or another. Everybody has this. Everybody. Nobody is left out of this. It's an everybody thing.
Well, it looks like it's pretty old. I mean, I don't even know what CE stands for. I've heard of AD and BC, but what's CE?
That's before.
Okay, so it's BC. It's the same thing as BC.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, because I had never heard it called that before. And I mean, I'm not sure how much 100% I buy into it, but I find the concept intriguing nevertheless. And it definitely dates back to way into ancient times. So I think back then, I think people. I mean, just me personally, I think it was just back then. The whole it just seemed like people were just so much more in tune with things of that nature in that time than we are today. I mean, today, people just don't seem to be as in tune with that sort of field. I realize there are exceptions and there are people who are, but back then it just seemed like anybody you talk to anywhere was in tune on that sort of level, like kind of like how everybody in tune today is in tune today with the headlines that that are coming through our television screens. It was like everybody was absorbed with that sort of information more so than all the distractions that we procure ourselves with in today's day and age. You know what I mean?
Right. And back to the Merkaba, because Doc's asking about what the heck is that, and that's exactly what I said when somebody pointed it out. It is the vehicle that's outside the vehicle, and as he was explaining, it's something that's unexplainable, but it's something that we have. And when it is spinning and everything is going and flowing, it is a prism, and light shines out around it. And that's how when I look at back to how we ended up here to begin with, when I look at sky watchers and the images that they capture and the beauty, like when you see purple skies with beautiful pink clouds or rainbow clouds, and I have a tendency to be able to see, even in others when they're taking their sky images, hearts. I see hearts. I always see clouds that are shaped like hearts, or like the blue sky gap in between the clouds is shaped like a heart, or hearts within hearts. But you see these phenomena within the sky from the person who's actually capturing the images. So it lets you kind of see a glimpse into them. You can see a glimpse into who they are and what they're experiencing, their heart. You can see it because it's transcending from them and out and around them. And then also you're able to you glean from it, and also be able to perceive even your own energy field as we all overlap and we blend as we're in this we're dancing together in our uniqueness with the energetic exchange and the beauty. And even with the people that surround the sky watchers, they're having a say-so and an influence on what is being projected out at these great distances. But mainly the one who's actually taking the images, you can see their heart, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I've seen them capture clouds with what looks like, as I was describing the prism of light, just go in every direction. Clouds that the light source is like bent, and it's the cloud itself has every color of the rainbow in it, and it doesn't make sense to our logical mind of how we once perceived this place. Blue skies, white clouds, then all of a sudden we had checkerboards being put up in the sky, and then now we don't see the checkerboard. The checkerboard, I haven't had a checkerboard sky in, gosh, I don't know how long. And even if I start to see one, I just think on higher things and it goes away. It's really odd. It's an odd thing. I mean, it's paranormal. I don't know. I can't put words to it, but all I can say is this, is that we together are so phenomenal, so amazing. We each carry precious, unique gifts that we, from our heart, will show through or shine through, although all are available to all equally in equal portions. But it seems like where our heart and our passion goes, that gift is going to be magnified in us, on us, all around us, and it transcends any kind of a logic or a left brain type thought process that we once had. I am a very left brain thinker. Come on, I have a degree in business management and with the minor in accounting. I was an accountant, office manager, numbers, and, things needed to balance out. You know what I mean? I'm a very, I worked for a law firm, and, everything had to be in order. Everything had to be just so. Everything had to make sense. So for this to be going on and for me to shift my perspective and to allow, again, that was difficult because I want to know. I mean, my logical side of my mind is like, okay, wait, this is impossible. There has to be ABC equals what's going on. Now I'm to the point I just stand in appreciation. I observe in appreciation of, these phenomena that are beyond my little left brain's comprehension. You know what I mean? It's like when we're left brained, it's hard. It really is hard to let go of that left brain trying to make logic of everything. But to see light bending from the opposite direction, making a perfect rainbow colored cloud that is sitting amongst white clouds with a blue sky background, but then this one special cloud is refracting out every color of the rainbow. What? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I hear you, and I think in a way I can relate to it is, it comes back to that sacred geometry. I mean, you find it in everything that is natural. You find it in nature. You find it, in any, and basically in anything that is God's design. That there's, that I mean, granted, some of the best architects try to incorporate, sacred geometry in their structures. Some of the best cathedrals and things of that nature have been designed using it. But it's what flows natural. It's how things naturally evolve. It's how things naturally assimilate. It's how things how things can grow exponentially with design, and that's basically what sacred geometry is. And it just sounds like a visual mystical phenomenon incorporating sacred geometry. I mean, it really it is very it seems very uniform and very well designed. the way you describe it. I don't necessarily totally understand exactly what it is, but based on the picture that you're painting, that's where my mind goes with it.
Well, I'll actually, what I'll do is when we're done here, I'll send you the video capture. It was actually My Skies 5D that captured this. Now, Dead GPK has captured. Gosh, I mean, you can't put words to what they're capturing. And I also want to add that Dead GPK. I know that I always like to say, okay, he's a sky watcher, but let me say, we're never just one thing. We master one gift and we continue to share it. And then our passion will then, move. And we, just like my channel, we talk about experiences here. This is not a religious platform, period. This is about experiences, unknown things, phenomena that, is much higher than, our human understanding. These things are so off the charts, but then again, okay, we can talk about God. We can talk about the creator of this place, and the ways of the creator are far above our ways, far above our understandings while we're in having our earthly experience. And that it's designed that way for a purpose. But, to just, to have that concept, and that's how I was able to push that left brain down and just observe and enjoy. And to finish the thought on Dead GPK, he's been digging up information that is not commonly known about many, what would you call them, shakers, or not just, I wouldn't call him as a simple term as an inventor. An inventor, okay, yeah, they're known for one thing that they've invented, but it's more complex than that. There's so much more going on within, and he's been bringing forth this information about these kites that were made by, I think it was Alexander Graham Bell, and you talk about the sacred geometry and things like that. He made these kites in such a way. They were huge, and they were using, it looked like, sacred geometry, and these things would fly. And it was phenomenal. So he's been not only doing his sky watching and, and mastered that, but now he's digging into, the uniqueness of others who have come before us that have, left their stamp here. And I think that that's something that, we should all think on, is what impression are we wanting to leave when we leave this place? Even if you wanted to think left brain for your children or your grandchildren, we always want to leave it better than how we found it. Or, or for those coming in for the earth experience, we want to, leave a little signature of ourself here in one way or another. And a lot of times, some of the things that are done are not, recognized or noticed. And he's got a knack. And again, I'm talking about Dead GPK, for pulling forward information about people that we may have categorized as one thing, but there's so much more to this unique, sovereign individual than just being an inventor. These things are, phenomenal. And again, like I said, that's why there's so much appreciation for each other and what each of us offer to one another, because we weave a tapestry of uniqueness. And without the uniqueness, number one, it would be boring here. I don't want a bunch of people talking the same haircut, dressing the same, thinking the same. And, I don't want a bunch of what you would call like clones or replicas or cyborgs or hive mind. Part of this experience that we have here is to learn to appreciate the differences and the uniqueness that we all bring, and to not try to, oppress or stifle this beauty that resides within each of us, that we each equally have to offer to one another and to this place, to this realm in which we reside. I won't call it flat, or I won't call it round, because when I see two sides and I see fighting or division, then I know that both are wrong, because if you've got a right or left, or this way or that way, or my interpretation of it, or yours is wrong and mine is right, and it causes discord or division, then the truth of the matter is neither of them are right, because it wouldn't cause disharmony within us. And that's something that I've learned, over time, that to be able to discern something, that if there's either one way or another, and they will fight with each other, that neither side is right. It's something else. The answer, the truth is something else that we just haven't quite stumbled on yet. So, that's on my school of thought, and also why I am so interested, and why I wish the phone would ring and people would call and share what they have, because everybody has so much to offer. Even when they think they don't, they have no clue. They have no clue about what they actually do offer. Humility is a good thing. I mean, I'm going to be the first to say, I would rather talk to somebody that is humble and unsure, that actually is so full of wisdom, knowledge, and gifted, than to have somebody come on with ego and say, I know it all, and this is it, ba, 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 ba. I got it, I figured it out, ha ha, look at me. Because I think you understand what I mean. There's beauty in being humble. There's beauty in being unique. There's beauty in what we all have to offer through each phenomena, whatever the perspective may be, right brain, left brain, it doesn't matter. None of that stuff matters, as long as, like our conversation, that I really have to give you accolades on that. I really, really appreciate that you stood up for yourself on your privacy and your rights to keep what it is that you want to believe or have faith in sacred and private within yourself, not trying to sway others into your way of thinking or your paradigm or your beliefs, but allowing you to believe and be the sovereign divine that you are, and in all your uniqueness. That is, that's speaks volumes for your character. And a lot of us, with the mistaken identity that we have, will follow after people that will come in and with that ego, and that they'll postulate that they can present themselves really well, that they really know what they're talking about, and spit out numbers and facts, and try and do graphs and all of this stuff. And that person, they're talking from an ego, I know you don't type of a persona, where somebody that is humble and not quite, they actually are the ones where you get the gold, the treasure. That's where the diamonds are. Hey, we got a call. So I know you probably heard that too. Let's see, we got, okay. We got it's the same color again. And let's hope, let's cross our fingers that, because I really love this person. Okay. You are unmuted, and the microphone is yours, sir.
I just wanted to comment on the Mayan calendar that Sagi spoke of.
Okay.
Earlier. The original calendar, the end date was 2012. Mm-hmm. And then it seems like later they found out that they moved up the date to 2020.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, we talked about this on the phone earlier, Sagi, and I think
Even from
what I told you
December, right?
earlier,
It was 12/21/2012, right? The inversion with the numbers. Now it's 6/21/2020, which I find interesting that it's like a six months difference. Even
it
in
seems
that.
it seems like whoever discovered that, the scientists went, oh, wait, no. 2012 didn't happen, so we got to move it up now.
Yeah. Oops.
There.
The end didn't happen. But you know what? What's your thoughts on this? Okay. What if it didn't happen the way they thought, but something did happen, but it wasn't what they thought from their left brain side, with their calculations and projections and perspectives, what they thought should have happened didn't, and it was more of a right brain or spiritual, or because it just seems like when these dates are put out, or these phenomena, also having a solar eclipse on the same day, and again on June 3rd having that planetary alignment, followed by that strawberry full moon on June 5th. A lot is going on here in June, but it's almost like maybe collectively we're putting out flags, or things for us to start looking around us, because something is coming, something good is coming. It's not like the end like they thought. It's something different. It's not how they perceive it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead. It's all you.
No, I was going to say that actually something did happen in 2012. I think that was when a lot of people started becoming awake to the Mandela Effect.
Yep. I agree. And then what was it, 2015 or 16, when that huge wave hit, where people started talking about it.
Uh-huh.
Well, you're one of them. You're one of the first Mandela affected, or observing, at least those that began to talk about it. Obviously, you were attracted to that because you were seeing it, and then when people started to talk about it, it brings a level of comfort. You're like, oh, okay, I'm not crazy. This stuff is really happening, and others are seeing it too. But I can't remember if it was 2015 or 16 when, I'm talking about just YouTube, nowhere else, where people began opening up channels and talking about this very phenomenon. Do you remember?
No. Me?
Yeah. Do you remember if it was 2015 or 16 when people started talking about it? I agree with you that
it seems like it was around 2016.
Okay.
To be honest with you. By the way, I just want to mention, I know we're way past this, but CE stands for Common Era. I don't know if you guys mentioned that or not.
No, and
then there's
Sagi
there's
saying
BCE, which stands for Before the Common Era. I never heard that term before either.
Yeah, that's new. So what is Common Era then? Is that supposed to be like now? Like, are we in Common Era now, or was it before? Like,
well, what I looked up, it says Latin for the year of the Lord, referring to the birth of Jesus Christ. CE, the abbreviation for Common Era.
Okay, so it is before. Okay, so CE. So okay, so when we were walking through it, we were talking about the right time frame of. I'm going to be honest. With so many different calendars and calendar changes and year changes and starting over from zero, and who decided when year zero was to start year one. I mean, we really we really don't know what year or how, how old the earth is or how young the earth is. I mean, that's confusing in itself. What's your thoughts on that?
Who, me?
Yeah. It's when you call, you get our full undivided attention.
Well, I tell you, I don't really know. Nobody knows when the beginning was, not, but I mean, I don't know.
I mean, and did they count backwards? Did they count backwards to year zero? Or, I mean, it's just something that, it's like, do we really know? I mean, did they start and say, okay, we're starting at year 6,000. Now we're at year 5,999. Now we're at 5,998. You know what I mean? Did they count backwards to zero and then start again? It's just something that I think about. So I just wanted to get your thoughts on it. And Sagi, he's wanting to know what you think about this.
I really, you know what? I honestly don't have I think that we're lost. I think that the history, as we know it, as far as the timeline of when things occurred, I think that we are way off base. Whatever year we're like right now, we believe that it's June 2020, but is it really? Do we have any way to really go back? The average person, can they really go back and prove it beyond the shadow of a doubt that that's exactly when, what year it is now, and according to what calendar, and according to what, king? Was it Julian or Gregory or I mean, it's just there's just so much misinformation. It's hard to say what year it really is. So I think we all just kind of have to agree on a number, just so that we can synchronize our watches and our meetings and all get to the same place at the same time. Other than that, I think we'd be better off to use, I'll meet you at sunrise or at sunset. That way you can at least spend the evening watching the sunset, off into the distance, instead of watching your watch, waiting on someone to show up. That's my 2 cents for whatever it's worth.
And that actually,
that's interesting. You should bring that up.
It makes sense.
You know how we used to tell time with the sundial, so everything was according to what the sun was doing at that time. So is the sun brighter? Was it brighter back then? It seems kind of dimmer now to me than it used to be. It's got that bright white to it now instead of the yellow that we were so used to seeing.
I don't know. I miss that sun. I if there's anything that I miss, it's not that it doesn't take away from the sun that we have now. Okay. But it is white. And I do remember that beautiful orangish, yellowy sun. And I miss it. And as for, to talk on what Sagi was saying is, I think that we did construct a man-made construct of time for appointments and meetups, so you're not standing out there by your buggy and your carriage for 3 or 4 hours for somebody to try and discern where the sun level is in the sky. It is a matter of convenience, and it does help us to keep appointments and meet up with one another. It has made it more convenient for each of us in our lives. I think it's just a matter, it could be just as simple as that. But as for
I'll tell
you, I don't know.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
I have something real quick I wanted to add to that conjecture. Have either one of you guys looked at a second hand recently and watched the seconds go by? I just feel like the seconds go by way faster than they used to. I remember as a child or even as a young adult, when my kids were young, trying to teach them how to count off 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000. And now if you're going to do that and keep up with the seconds, you have to go 1 1,000, 2 1,000, 3 1,000, 4 1,000.
Yeah, that 1,000 needs to be said so fast.
Yeah, especially when you're a kid and you're waiting for lunchtime to roll around and you were looking at that second hand or that the
bell to ring.
And it's like, oh man, this is taking forever. So
I
do agree with you that time is definitely moving a lot faster than it used to be, in my opinion.
But we're not aging like as time is speeding up, and a lot of people have noticed that. It doesn't seem like people are showing it in your avatar. Like you, for example, you're looking younger. You're not looking like time is speeding up and you're graying up and getting older. I don't, there's just some things that are going on that are just so off the charts. The phenomena is just that. I also have seen people, even though time is sped up, they're actually like age regressing. They're looking younger. I don't postulate to know. I just observe, and a lot of this stuff is pretty mind bending. It's like opposite of what we were taught. As time goes on, you get older, you get gray, you get wrinkled. Not smoother skin, younger, healthier look. It's phenomenal. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to
I got to tell you, getting back to the whole sun thing and the brightness and the heat of it, the other day I was out in the garden. I noticed this last year too. I was out in the garden. I had a tank top on, and I'm sitting there planting onions or whatever it was I was planting. I forget, but I'm sitting there just like for an hour or so. And usually about that time I'd be burnt as you know what. And I just wasn't. Everything was just normal. Like I tanned before I burned, and I used to burn, then tan. But I just, seems like you don't even get that much sun like you used to.
You can't, I know, because I'm a burn and peel person. And you're right. Mm-hmm. I can only go out in the sun for a very minimal amount of time to get the base. So I won't burn and peel. I'm with you. I mean, it's like where I would be able to be out for 30 minutes. I have to condense it down to 5 or 10 minutes. And I'm not talking about when I'm swimming and exercising. When I'm in the water, I seem to be okay. But when I'm getting out and drying off, a lot of times I just would lay out in the sun and let the sun, dry me. And because there's vitamins and there's a lot that the sun offers to our body, for our health. And, but now it would be 5-10 minutes. I would be completely dry, and I would need to get the heck out of the sun. And I was toning down. It's like, what? I'm not in a tanning bed. What is this? I don't know. I don't know how to explain it. And you want to hear something really strange? My husband was building his shed in the backyard. We got the pool, which could help, neighbors can use it. My son, my granddaughter, instead of having a major surgery that would have absorbed all of our funds, we were able to get something that had me avoid that surgery and rebuild the muscle through exercising in the water and benefit other people. Okay. And then he's building this shed because part of the contract, we got a certain amount of concrete. And since we'd already poured our slab and our sidewalk, there was extra concrete. So they poured his slab. So he builds this shed. He wanted to build it himself. Well, he built it like, those barns that you see on a farm. Okay. It's little though. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's not like a huge whole barn, but it's barnyard style, like where you would see that flap come down and, was it Tom Sawyer with the straw hanging out? He's got his feet dangling out that little hole. Okay. So this thing's tall, and the sun's trajectory, the way that it would rise and then set, he blocked the sun from the pool because he made the darn thing tall. Okay. And I griped at him. I'm like, really? You just blocked the sun. I kid you not. It was like 2 or 3 days later, we went out there and we both watched, and the sun now came at an angle, and it did not, that structure did not block the sun. The swim area now does not get the sun blocked from this tall barn style shed that my husband built. We couldn't explain it. We were like, what the heck? Because it wasn't like we were in another season. It wasn't like 6 months or a year later. There wasn't any like time lapse really in between me griping at him for blocking the sun, that now the sun is coming across at an angle. It was weird. I mean, how do we explain this stuff? How do we explain the unexplainable? How do you put words to these observations that are so off the charts? I don't know. I mean, talking about the sun, that just reminded me of that. And I mean, has anybody else, have you or Sagi or even people in the chat, have you experienced the sun actually not only turning white, but now on a whole different trajectory, no longer going from rising in the east and setting in the west, but now it's more like southeast and northwest. So you have too?
Yeah, I've noticed that. Oftentimes here lately, for some strange reason, I've been getting up super early in the morning, and I'll have my morning coffee, and I'll stand there with the door open looking. I'm like, this side of the yard doesn't seem as bright as it used to. And then I look up and I go, well, where's the sun? And it's just not where it seems like where it used to rise from.
Weird. I don't know. I don't know how to explain it.
Me and Sagi was talking the other day about that majestic moment when you open the door and you're standing there with a cigarette in one hand, your coffee in the other. You're just looking out your door and wondering what kind of day it's going to be, and you can just get a sense of the day just by looking out, and not just if it's a sunny day or a bright day, but even if it's a cloudy day, you have this thing that it's in the air, like you can just sense it, Sagi, you there?
Wait, yeah, I was gonna say, Sagi, what
Yeah, I was going to say, we were talking about that, and not to paraphrase or repeat what he just said, but I'm sure we've all done it. You wake up in the morning, you gather your thoughts, like he said, you're standing there with your coffee and or your cigarette if you partake in such things, and you open the door and it's the crack of morning, and the roosters are crowing, the birds are singing, and you breathe in that morning air, and you take in the whatever yonder it is that you can see or perch from your front stoop, and you take that breath and you just try to get a feel for the day and what kind of day, what kind of day am I going to experience today? And just in that first moment, that first majestic moment, it's almost like you're capturing a snapshot or we'll call it a trailer or a sneak preview of what the day holds, and just that first glimpse, that first like Hero said, it's something that's just it's like a feeling in the air. You feel a sense of optimism of it's going to be a positive day, or you get a slight sense of dread, and that, oh man, today might not be one of the best days ever. And not to say that you still don't have any control over it one way or the other, because obviously you do. I mean, your attitude to go a long way towards shaping any given day, but you kind of get a clue as to what the circumstances have in line for you today, or what the general aura or the energy of the day is bringing your way. And more often than not, it's a moment of optimism and hope of a grand day. But sometimes it's not always the case. Sometimes I stand there and and it's not necessarily weather related, but of course, if you open the door and it's a cold, wintry, rainy day, you're not going to have the same level of optimism as you would if it's a pleasant, partly cloudy day. So yeah, I totally can relate to that. I'm sure most people out there can.
I want to say that the chat is going off, from the sky watchers that are agreeing that the trajectory of the sun is definitely different. And then we have the beautiful one. Eileen Colt. I hope, Sagi, that you had a chance to go over to her community page and see that video that she shared. You guys, if you have not and you are interested in some cutting edge, bone to the marrow truth, go to one Eileen, subscribe to her. Of course, she's awesome. And go onto her community page. She has shared something that has been revealed about what is going on in the world that can be pretty eye-opening for a lot of people, and also bring peace. Not, it's going to raise some emotional issue or emotional position within people when you see it, but it's not going to raise an emotional issue of negativity. It's going to be, it's very revealing and very telling. And her videos, she has ways of helping people to calm down and clear their mind. And not only that, she also drops wisdom, so much wisdom, and so much from her experiences. She's just a beautiful. Everybody, I'm telling you, everybody, every single one of us has these amazing things to offer one to another. And Earth Daughter, I saw something about her noticing. She said she noticed the sun was more white and intense about 2009 or so. So intense, it felt like the surface of her skin was burning. That is exactly what I'm talking about, that I could not stay out in the sun. It burned me so fast that I had to get out of it immediately. And I wanted to say, Sagi brought forth his presentation to me on these phenomena. We discussed him talking about this actually at the latter end of last week, because he knew I had an emergency and I had to go out of town, as you guys know. So we didn't have the regular Wednesday show, but he does, the research, and this is why he holds this position with us on the Colin Show. And he brought forth, this solar eclipse and this new date of the Mayan calendar. And, I always give him when he brings up and looks into information, he's such an awesome researcher, and I trust his information that I just let him take the reins with it. Now, if he goes on another platform and he shares this very information, it doesn't take away. It doesn't take away from anything that he brought forward to any platform. I see people go to several platforms and share information that is able to go out to different subscribers at different places. So
yeah, actually, I've been sitting on it now for at least 3 or 4, maybe as many as 5 days, and I was going to bring it up on our other show that Hebrew and I do, but I just it slipped my mind. We got caught up in so many other topics. I was glad to be able to bring it up today, though. It's getting so close to being,
Caller, if you unmute yourself before I call on you, I will hang up on you. You've unmuted yourself 4 times. I will disengage the call. You are to wait until I unmute you and then you talk. Okay. You're not here for a good purpose, so I'm sorry. Your call is ended.
I'm sorry. I didn't realize you were trying to talk.
No,
I just wanted to say I was planning on sharing. I mean, we only have like 3 or 4 more days, so yeah, I was planning on bringing it up earlier this week too on the platform. I had just forgotten to, but yeah, it is. I'm sure it's all going to come and go. It's going to come and pass. The Ring of Fire, the June 21st. It's going to come and pass, and it'll quickly become an afterthought. So today is a good day to talk about it and discuss it for those who are interested in it. And you may want to bring it up to the people that you know and that you associate with between now and then. But afterwards, like I said, it'll quickly become an afterthought. What is interesting to me will be to see how what the 21st ends up being like. If there is any type of
hold
shift
on,
or anything that happens. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I know who's I know who that is. Okay, he's just Henri. And I probably didn't give the instructions. Okay, the phone lines that we're using can hold up to 5 people. You can hear the show in its entirety. When you come in muted. Stay on mute until I unmute you, and then you can introduce yourself and then add to the conversation. I had no idea that it was Red Bully. So, okay, you're still in here. Stop unmuting yourself, you Henri. I know you're Henri. I know you, so I know you're Henri. So, okay.
So yeah, I pretty much said what I needed to say. If there's another caller, let's hear him.
Yeah, I unmuted you now, sir. If you're still.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Why are you so Henri?
Hey, Michelle, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Long time, right?
Yeah, but I still peek in on you. Me and my lurker ways. I come checking in on you. Yeah.
You peeker,
I am. I don't always engage because sometimes I'm tired. I just want to just veg out and watch you play your games and listen to you talk. And you know what I miss? I miss and I'm sure you do too. And I'm not trying to bring up something that may tug at your heart. I miss seeing you with your baby, and whatever you were doing, you had your baby right there with you, right behind you.
Oh, yeah.
And you always, no matter if you were live streaming, gaming, showing people games, teaching people games, you picked that baby up no matter what was going on. And I miss that. And
no, that was my baby.
I know.
By the way,
my gosh. I mean, it was just, just to see that connection between a father and a child was, it transcends. It just, it's moving. I just wanted to, so I'm a lurker.
Oh, yeah.
That just affirms that I'm a lurker and that I've noticed some changes and it's not.
No, I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. It really does that you said that. That means a whole lot to me.
Mm-hmm.
To add to what y'all are talking about,
okay.
I tried to work every day, same direction. Same direction to work every day. 6 months I've gone to the same job site, and I've also noticed the sun has changed trajectory. It's like where it was straight ahead, it's like to the west. Oh no, I would say east side of me. Now more every day. It's like moving. Is it me or is the sun actually moving? I didn't really call it talk to that. I really called to say hey to you.
You know what? I'm going to say, Red, that it for us from our observation, he built that shed. Yeah. He finished it. I complained because it blocked the sun to the pool. Okay, and I'm telling you, it was like it was so fast because it was only within a day or 2 or 3. After I complained to him about blocking the sun, that the sun was now setting in the northwest, no longer setting in the west where it was, where that structure was blocking the sun from the pool. It was the sun moved, and from my observation, so fast on a different trajectory than what we were raised with. It rises in the east, it sets in the west. Now it rises in, like I said, the southeast, and now it sets in the northwest. It's odd.
Which begs the question: is the Earth tilted more now than it used to be, and is that the reason why that everything's changed? Is the Earth tilted?
Or
and people
was I so mad or was I so mad about my pool being overshadowed by that thing that I forced that sun into complying? No, I'm kidding, but I mean, it makes you wonder.
No, not really. No. If you go back, because you think about it. There are power in what? There are power in words.
There's power in words, intentions, thoughts, and if you're coming from a pure heart, love base, then
your words have meaning and they have power, in which power can move mountains. So they say it.
Be thy removed mountain. Well,
maybe you just moved the shed.
Hey, if the shed is moved, the pool moves with it.
Well, maybe the whole angle of my house moved, and maybe I'm no longer sitting in the same direction. Who knows how it happened? But I know that I benefited from it.
Well, I'm telling you that if your house moved,
land taxes move with it. So you need to like bring that to your city council that land taxes should change if you have changed.
No, because they'll raise them. I know how that works. You complain and they raise them. Say nothing, no nothing, bring them,
My question, and I really have to ask this because I've done so many live streams on it lately. What is your feeling on the way the world is shifting? And not the earth, not the sun. Let's talk about something besides that. What about the actual way of the people? We have moved, like shifted in such a way. It's scary, to think about the safety of our family.
Paradigm.
The world is shifting, not just the sun, but the world itself is shifting in a way where we're scared of our shadow, because we don't know what's going to happen the next day. And so the uncertainty causes distress and people get a rise of tension. And what do you think is the best way to bring people back to like a little more secure,
Well, I'll give you my perspective and then I'll let Sagi chime in on it. This actually came up last night with the caller with preliminal. And because I said after this one that I just went through from, it started like June 2nd at night, and then 6 days later I was still feeling it, and then a couple days later after that I acclimated. But what I thought was that people were different. The people that were around me seemed like they weren't the people that I once knew, like that they went into a box of programming and things like that. Now let me flip that now, and now I want you to just think about this just for a second. What if it's not them that changed? What if it is our perception is becoming clearer, that we're able to see, we were, kind of blinded and thinking that they were something else, or we thought, of what we thought, but we're perceiving now that it's our perception. We're seeing with that 2020 vision. We're seeing people more clearly.
You mean becoming awake.
Yeah, and so it wasn't them that actually
to
changed.
Reality.
It was actually us changing. So it's not all the people around us have changed. It's we're able to see through the narratives more clearly, and what we may have thought about that person may have been incorrect, and that we're getting a more clearer vision.
If that's true, what you're talking about,
it's just a perspective.
To what end is our perception changed? There's always an end, right?
No, not necessarily.
A meaning behind? You don't think there's a meaning behind everything?
Oh, sure.
If it's God's plan?
Oh, yeah. No, that's two whole different topics you touched on. You're saying, is to what end? I don't think, personally, I don't think there's an end to the, when you think about infinite, where do you find an end?
Of course. So
whether, what we're going through, it can be an infinite process. It's not something that I can see a beginning or end. I'm looking at this time as like a restoration period of everybody. And it's not a one person or another. It's everybody. Everybody is coming up in their time and their season by choice.
Yeah.
We still have our sovereignty to choose. So let's let Sagi chime in, because this is pretty deep and I want to hear what his thoughts are on it. Do you mind?
Okay. No, I do not mind.
Okay. Sagi?
Yeah, man, it is the deep concept. And you know what? It's a valid question. As far as like, what I think is, as far as the change in the world and the reality and all this kind of stuff, I really think it's kind of a little bit of both what the caller was saying and what you're saying as far as our perception being different. Because I think what you have going on here is it's much deeper than the example I'm going to use, but it's the only example I can really think up on the fly. But like the example I'm going to use is like when this whole pandemic first came into being, like mid-January, and when they told everybody we have to go into quarantine and in the name of safety and all this, and everybody, and they cast the spell of orders we had to follow, and everybody just kind of conformed graciously and agreed that this was the best thing to do, simply because people, talking heads on a television screen, came on a screen and told us that that's what we needed to do. Not because we actually witnessed a lot of people around us getting sick or anything like that, but simply because the television said so. And we all did it. The majority of the people did it, and they did it. They did it. They accepted it. They believed it to be true. And then over time, they started. People who were normally caught up in their normal everyday hustle of get up and go to work and do this and do that. Now all of a sudden had a lot more free. A lot more people had a lot more free time to sit and observe and to pay attention to what's really going on in the world and around them. And I think they started to, instead of getting their 5, 10 little 20, 30, 40-minute doses of information from a very limited source, they started getting more information from various sources. And I think that what you're seeing now is a lot of people starting to just not, they're no longer accepting the normal narrative. They're no longer taking everything and accepting it at face value. They're no longer accepting what was previously a construct that worked. So we didn't mind the slight fractures and the slight things that were wrong with it. We overlooked those things that were wrong with it because we were keeping our family fed, we were keeping our life in order, and all that really mattered was what we were focused on. But now we're starting to realize people as a whole are starting to realize that there's a lot more going on here. Of course you got to throw in with there being an election year. It seems like the talking heads are getting more and more extreme, and they're abusing their spell power more than they've ever abused it before. And I think that people are waking up and they're getting caught in their spell casting, and people are no longer going to be as easily fooled. And I think that you're just seeing an awakening all across the board, slowly but surely. Kind of like a game of whack-a-mole. The press isn't hitting the mole so much anymore. They keep slamming that hammer down on the table, but they're starting to miss more than they're hit. And we're starting to pop up and realize that there's a lot more going on here than what we previously realized. And I know that's a lot of general canvas statements, but I really do believe that little by little, one by one, people are starting to take a red pill versus a blue pill and go back to sleep. And that's personally what I think.
Hey, Red Bully on the mic.
I'm still here.
You want to, are you able to do a channel shout out? Let's put your talents to good use.
What is a channel shout out? What does that mean?
A channel shout out is to say hello to everybody in the chat. And again,
hello everybody in the chat.
Each unique and individually. I'll do it. But I don't know if you were here when I mentioned this earlier, Red, is
right.
Eileen Colts, because we just touched on this. On her channel, on her community tab, she has a video there that is very eye-opening. And in the meantime, let's also look at the time, and just like Sagi was saying, we got off the hamster wheel. We had the time to think. We had the time to perceive. We have the time to identify and get to know ourselves, the beauty that is within us, our uniqueness, and
right.
the uniqueness that we each offer, taking our very power back onto ourselves. Instead of creating what was put in front of us, we are now, we're creating from what's coming out of our heart. And that's kind of, it could look really messy in the world, but when you see, everything will look messy. And then just like the sun, it's blocking my pull. But then a couple days later, it's on a different trajectory and everything's perfect. I'm not saying, this could happen, like an overnight transition. Who knows? Who can say? It's, It's phenomenal. And I agree that, Sagi hit on a point, by saying, by putting out this false evidence appearing real, fear, people have slowed down. They got off the hamster wheel. They're no longer distracted with work and bills and all of these other things. They were able to calm and quiet, and then allowing them to introspect. The beginning of a good reverence of God is the beginning of wisdom, right? Knowing that you're a child of God and that you have never lost the connection, you're a divine sovereign, and that you have say-so here is such a huge revelation of your own personal identity. What's the first thing you're going to do when you find that out about yourself? You're going to take your power back to yourself and create what's good for everybody.
You're going to go back and find out who you are.
Exactly.
How about the fact that we have to, where did you lose yourself? That's a question. Like, when do you become not you and started becoming who people wanted you to be?
Yeah, that cookie
and if you go back that far,
cut out.
That is how you find yourself. It's going, can I interrupt you? I'm sorry.
No, I want to do this really quick because there's so many people in chat tonight. I just want to say thank you, everybody.
No.
This is these are the active so far. I'm just pulling up a participation list. We've got Dead GPK, again, Awesome Skywatcher, Earth Daughter, JoJo's. Oh my gosh, she taught me how to read auras. What an amazing woman. Kevin T,
nice.
My Life DIY. She's got a channel too. You guys, everybody here is just so beautiful. One, Eileen Colt, whom I've been ranting and raving about. Guys, the one thing I don't like is that YouTube no longer allows us to go directly to somebody's channel from clicking on their name. Eileen, please, will you put your channel link in the chat stream so people can find you? And guys, that goes for everybody. If you're holding a wrench, put your channel link in, because everything, this place is about sharing and growing together. There's not one that's in charge of anything. And that goes for you too, Red. Okay, and then we've got Pacific Northwest, and it says 360 Bear. We've got Preliminal, and we've been discussing our very deep conversation quite a bit. I hope that you haven't been blushing. Propagate This Light, Red Bully Hype, and oh my goodness, the Dark Wolf's Den Show. Yeah. And let's not forget that IMEC is starting. It's I think, what are we? He'll probably tell us 3 days away from it being free online, available for all, and 15 speakers this time. Also having questions and answers time where we can ask questions of the panel, even though it's all done online. He put together the one last year. It came off phenomenally. The outcome that he had from it not only met his expectations, but exceeded his expectations. So I see nothing but good things. And now he has a radio spot on the Rippin' Rabbit Hole, and that's on every Wednesday night. He is simulcast at Rippin' Rabbit Hole YouTube channel, Rippin' Rabbit Hole Radio, and Dark Wolf Den's channel for his weekly spot on Wednesdays. And then we have Tom that just slipped in. If anybody slipped in, that's okay. Sagi, get ready. Michael Fontaine.
Michael Fontaine.
Michael Fontaine. What? If I missed you guys, I'm sorry. Okay, Red. Continue. And I want Darkwood, please. The link for IMEC, the link for your channel, the link for Rippin', if you don't mind. I mean, I know that it's a pain to leave and come back and leave and come back. But if it will help lead people to where they need to go, or what they want to see, or what they're desiring to observe, and what you guys have to offer. I am all about sharing, share what you know, so we can all glean, listen, and grow, because we all offer so much to each other. Okay, go ahead, Red. It's back to you, babe.
First thing I want to say is shout out to Dark Wolf Den. That's a show I catch a lot. I haven't caught yours in a while. I guess I haven't been awake. Usually I'm asleep. I work in the morning time all day, 13, 14 hours a day.
Well, what happened to
Dark Wolf
rewatch,
Den,
dude? I'm just kidding.
what's that?
What happened to rewatch, man? What's wrong with you? I'm joking.
Of course you are. But Dartwood Den, he's really good. I mean, I listened to a lot of stuff. He's in preliminal. It's hard to say. Preliminal. I got it close. I'm sure.
Preliminal.
Yeah, I know. Could have been a little simpler, like pre something.
Preliminal.
Anyway, but yeah, I don't even know what I was talking about last time. I think I was talking about going back to your roots.
Identity.
If you look in the mirror, I used to ask a question to myself, and it's something that people probably can do and say, "Who are you?" It's not a crazy question. You're not really talking to yourself. You're just trying to get back to where did you go from who you were to who you are now, and who influenced you to change, and then taking yourself back to the root of you, which is a scary thing because who were you before you became who you are now? Is a weird transition. I mean, all the people that came in influenced you to be a different person, and you have to go back and say, there was a root me. Like me, I used to sing Christian music. I used to be in a church. I used to have this really great, grasp to God, and a connection in my singing voice. And then I became this whole different person when I went to Birmingham to, fit with the crowd and try to be friends with people and almost giving a piece of myself to become something different. And I think that the one thing you can't do is lose who you are. It's like the most vital part of who we are as humans, to keep a sense of our own self-preservance. You know what I mean? To be ourselves is harder now because there's so much pressure to be someone else or to live someone else's cause. And you have to never forget who you are. It's like the most important part of ourselves is who are we? And I don't know if that's weird and going off base or something, but I think it's something to look at, who are we before we became who we are now, and how we lost too much of ourselves to pressure and peer pressure and a movement that maybe might not be the one you need to go to. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Self-exploration. Removing all of the shadow selves and peeling back that, it's like peeling back the layers of an onion and looking into the mirror and seeing the authentic you, not the you that's been portrayed on you or labeled on you by the world, but you. I start because of a lot of things in the world will make us hate ourselves, and self-love is one of the hardest things. It's a lot of people need to learn, first to love themselves as they are, flaws and all. Don't worry about it. And then once you can love yourself, you can love more purely. And my life dash DIY put it so simply. We were having a conversation in the Ripon Lounge, and she's just self-love is so important because how can you love another? And if you look at the beginnings when I was just using the cell phone, I did talk about practicing looking in the mirror and giving yourself 5 compliments. You may not be able to make eye contact at first, but soon you'll be able to make eye contact with yourself in the mirror with those 5 compliments. Let them resonate. Find, even if it's just simple, small, good things to say to yourself. Restore that inner beauty that is within you, and then reflect it out around you. And to know how to love yourself as you are, not the way that the world has labeled or oppressed us, then can reflect out and around you to other people, and it's beautiful.
I love your crowd, by the way. It's a very supportive crowd. It's different than most channels I go to where people are so subjected to be different. They're so split up and going a different direction than actually the person that's actually hosting is trying to get it to go. It's hard to make a YouTube channel where people are actually a big old group family, kind of going toward the same direction. That's really awesome. It's unique. And I find it very unique when I come to your channel and I read and look and don't join in, just kind of, observe. I'm like you. I'm a creeper. I just creep in and observe.
Well, it's sometimes I'm just tired and I just want to just veg out and watch, you know. And so
Of course, yeah.
it's not, you know, anything personal. It's just, you know, just want to just veg and just listen and enjoy, and not focus on the chat, or you know, sometimes the chat can be distracting away from information that's being given by the channel or the speaker. On Shane, Unbiased on the Fence, Eileen goes on there on Saturday nights, and she leads like a meditation. She's got such a soothing voice, and these group meditations are never about self.
Yeah.
It's always about, you know, what we could focus on that could help others if they're willing to accept it, you know, never trampling on sovereignty. And so when I go over there, I don't talk much in the chat, because for, you know, they start with talking about, you know, phenomena, anomalies, current events. You know, there's a conversation that's going on between her and Shane that touches on, you know, from the paranormal, the spiritual, the awakening, the ascension, the heart, the world, the perceptions, observations. And then after they go through that conversation, she clicks off her camera, so we no longer can see them. Shane minimizes himself and brings her up, and she puts up this beautiful image of a rainbow, and her voice she goes into this voice of just calmness, and it just really resonates like through. It's I'm very careful about who I allow or go into a group meditation with. And of course, everybody should discern everything. But I have had nothing but beautiful experiences with meditations, and trusting her to take us into meditations. It's always been a positive, and is always reflected out in the world as a positive experience. It's not I'm going to hypnotize you to control you, or, you know, use subliminals or flicker rates for you to buy a product, or, you know, it's not like that. She takes us down very calmly, very peacefully to a beautiful place. And then we then come together as one. And it's a timeless type thing. You can go back and watch just the meditation that she does, because they're timeless. No matter when you do the meditation, it's always a now moment. And then you add your energy, your love, and your peace to it. And then, you know, it just ripples out and around, and it just has such a, so, you know, I just wanted to make sure that I touch base with bringing up Unbiased on the Fence too, because my channel is a platform of experiences. We want to talk about them and have a safe place to talk about phenomenal or phenomena or things that may scare you that are going on within. And then all of these other places have their unique way of presenting or bringing forth information. That's why it's important to glean from, those who offer. And, you know, if you're resonating with it, great. If you're not, move on and go where you do resonate. And that's why I want everybody to share. And I promote sharing your channels. I promote all of that, because if you don't resonate with me, you may resonate with somebody else that comes on here. Therefore, that's where that's where you need to go at that time. You know what I mean? I don't do this for subscribers. I'm just sharing my journey. I'm just sharing what I know the best that I can.
Yeah.
And bringing out people to share their unique, abilities, gifts, and what they have to offer to one another. It's really about it's about us. We're in this together. I mean, it's a beautiful thing.
Well, we bounce off each other's ideas. I mean, we are who we surround ourselves with. If you surround yourself with a bunch of crazy people, you might become crazy. If you surround yourself with people that have open minds and have a willingness to share their ideas and passions and feelings, then you tend to feel like you can be pulled in that direction, and it brings things out of us that we don't see coming, and then it becomes and presents itself, and then you realize what it is. Not that you don't realize it as a whole inside yourself. You already knew who you were, but then through other people we find ourselves journeying forward and into like a really big positive manner. We will not become ourselves until we find ourselves. And then finding yourself, it takes time. Sometimes it don't take very much time at all. It just depends on, how clear it is to you when you get to that road. But our paths will always take us a different direction, and we'll come back to where we need to be. I think we always pull back to where we need to be. And that's a lot with family. Like if your dad dies, all of a sudden the entire family comes together and you mourn the loss of that loved one. It's something that unites us, that pulls us forward. And I think humanity is built the same way. We find something to unite and cause around, and before you know it, we become part of that one unity. And that's always been a part of humanity, I think, since the beginning of time.
I also want to say there's certain qualities of people that will radiate or congregate here, and they're people that they don't talk behind backs, they don't backbite, they don't undercut, they're not in competition. It's that new heart, that changing, that new mind, that new heart that that we strive to get. We have, it's in us. And so then that type of stuff, it falls away, because I have no interest in drama or conflict at all. None whatsoever, because once you can see, and I'm sure you're observing this yourself, and I'm sure Sagi is too. I'll let him chime in here in just a second. When you see the people around you, no matter what's going on with them or what they're doing, you still know within yourself that they are who they are, whether they know or have an identity crisis or whatever. You still know who they are, and therefore you don't want to do anything to promote harm, because if you're harming them, then you're harming your own brother or sister, because we're all in this together, whether we like it or not, or we feel separated, or we are, that's just a mistaken identity thing when we're digging at each other. So that's probably what you're vibing with the chat. It's a bunch of people that are very loving, have wonderful hearts. They can be protective. Don't get me wrong. They can be very protective, but don't trample on their loved ones or those that they care about. But that's it kind of goes with the territory. But you're probably sensing that that peace that comes from them, and it's a beautiful understanding and understanding. And Sagi, you have anything you want to chime in?
No, I mean, I think you guys all pretty much spoke it quite well, actually. I want to give everybody a heads up. I got my phone on the charger, and I'm sitting here enjoying being part of everything, but it keeps going down. It was at 6%, and in the amount of time that you've been talking, it's dropped down to 3%. So I'm probably going to fall out of the show here in the next 5 or 10 minutes. So
hey, I'm going to fall out of the show too. It's been 2 hours, dude. And remember, I was tired. I'm still tired.
But I just want everyone to know how I just want to thank you, first of all, for letting me be on here with you. I want to thank everybody in chat for coming and supporting our show, and just for being here. And the caller, I'm not familiar with your channel. However, I will make a point to check it out. I like the stuff that you're talking about here on the call with us tonight. I want to thank you for calling, and I don't know. I just want to make sure I got all that out before my phone dies and I disappear, just so everybody knows what happened.
Well, I hope you can stick. I'm going to go ahead and I want to let's see if Red Bully Hype's got one last thing to say, and I'm going to close up the conference call and zip the show up, and because it has been 2 hours. Everybody's amazing. I love everybody. But Red, you have anything you want to share about yourself, your channel name, or anything that you want to shout out?
I'm not big on promoting myself. I feel like I'll make my walk on my own.
It's not about like self-promotion.
A poem I wrote a long time ago called "I Walk Alone," and I actually did that, and it got published. And it's not that I'm alone. It's really a meaning of I walk alone till I find my cause. It's like I walk alone till I find the people that enrich my life and make it go forward. I think we all have a powerful resonance. When we get together as a group, we become more powerful. And not saying like a movement or a cult. I'm saying as a powerful entity of there's love and compassion and
Sovereignty.
understanding. And I think, yeah, of course. And I think that's got to be important. I do a lot of things on my show that basically just, I do the talking points, and I raise questions that people can ask themselves. And I think in the end of that, I want people to come to their own conclusions. I don't want to give people the idea of what I want them to think about. I want them to come to their own conclusions. And I do appreciate the compliment that he gave me. That was awesome. I don't think I'm used to it, and I think that's why I'm like stuttering right now. It's a great, great to hear people like say thank you and stuff back to me, or Gartwood then saying thank you, and I do appreciate listening to all y'all, because it's kind of kept me moving in the right path, and I hope we can all do that together.
Okay, and I'm gonna have to put you in check just for a second. This place here, it's not about self-promotion. Why would you hide when some can glean from you? Don't hide what you have to offer. Please don't hide it. It's not about ego. It's not about self-promotion. Push those thoughts out of your mind and allow, because there's sometimes I go and watch you because you're just a goofball sometimes, and it's just fun to watch. So I don't have to think. I can take a break and just, sit here and laugh and giggle, to myself, watching you just be silly. So, don't sell yourself short. Yeah, you do talk about profound things. Yes, you give wisdom. Yes, you do show that you had such a connection with your child that it transcended through the screen beyond whatever you had going on. You have much to offer. So don't say it's self-promotion. What you're doing then is saying, I really don't want you to come see what I'm sharing or what I'm laying down, because I'm trying to hide. Don't hide. Don't hide. There's no need to hide. Put yourself out there. Take a risk. Just do it, And that's my final thoughts to that. And you guys, this channel name is called Red Bully Hype. And you can find them just by, is there a hyphen in there?
It's Red Bully _hype.
There you go. Got him to say it. Red Bully _hype. And, you guys, we should all support each other and check each other out. It's important to stay connected. And I want to thank you for calling and spending time with us, sharing precious information that you had to offer us this evening.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you. You have a good night.
You do the same.
Thank you. Okay, Sag, let me disconnect the conference call, and it will be just me and you. Do 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 do. And conference. Okay. Conference is closed. Let me take the phone number down so I don't confuse people. And that is oh my gosh, he fell out. Oh my gosh, you better charge his battery. Take this down. Is this the one? Yeah. Okay. Well, Sagi warned us. He told us that his batteries were being drained. We did go a little longer than expected, but you guys, we had an awesome turnout. You guys are all amazing. We're all in this together. We are all so unique. We have so much to offer to each other, and these call-in share shows are so important for number one, for people to know you're out there and what you're doing, what you're offering. Number two, to share your experiences in a safe, loving environment without judgment, and to glean from one another or find synchronicity and something that's going on with somebody that, you may be afraid to talk to other people around you, to have a comfortable, safe space to be able to share with one another. And it's just such a beautiful thing. I love everybody so much. I want to thank you all for coming. And hey, you guys, please hit that thumbs up. For some reason, on this specific stream, we started in the hole, 4 thumbs down and 4 thumbs up. It was really odd. I was like, what's going on? We hadn't even gone live yet, and they were already saying, nope, it's no good. So, I appreciate the support. Whether, you're able to become a member and get some wings and some special emojis, or just thumbs up. or sharing your time with me, or sharing your experiences so we can all glean and grow. Everything holds value. Everything is an exchange, and it's wonderful. Let me get to this. And with that, always share what you know and listen so we can grow. And I'll be dropping that video tomorrow, hopefully putting an end to the religion topic, and then going into that other yucky paradigm of government. Yuck. But I think once we expose these big ones, the small ones will just be so easy for us all to discern and just set aside and walk in the peace and the uniqueness and the divine sovereign being with every gift, every ability within you as brothers and sisters, in this together, growing together, learning from one another, equal in all ways. It's so beautiful. It's just beyond comprehension. Open your heart to the true you and be it. Just be it. Be you. Don't conform to this world. Be sovereign, be unique, be divine. Share what you know. Listen so we grow. And I'll talk to you soon.